I almost think that she's kind of a lesson in what not to do, or what some of the trappings of personality typing in general are.
All right. So I've been watching White Lotus, and I thought there were some pretty cool clips for you to take a look at.
Okay.
So why don't you take...
Fun. All right.
In the Enneagram, I'm a 9. I'm easygoing, peacemaker. But it also means I'm quite complacent, which isn't always good. Hey, you're probably a 2. Yeah. Most healers are 2s.
Wow. Okay. Well, normally there are like covert Enneagram references where I'm like, a lot of shows, it's like, I think they might, it seems like they're thinking of the Enneagram because they're really like using it, but they're not hiding that here. It gets explicitly mentioned, huh?
Oh yeah, she just came right out and said it. And I haven't seen like a mainstream TV show come out so openly about the Enneagram and just saying it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to think. Sometimes I feel like a lot of shows, the writers might be aware of it and using it as a tool to develop characters, but...
And even if they don't know about it, they're using it anyways.
Well, yeah, that's true too. All right, but that said, so cool to see the Enneagram get a little bit of a reference.
Yeah, good plug there.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe it's also playing into a little bit of the stereotype thing.
Okay.
And I'm not sure it's even getting the stereotype right. So maybe that's something worth talking about.
Yeah. She said she's an Enneagram 9.
Yeah.
Which, I think she made a good point there.
I think she described a general thing about the 9 pretty good.
Yeah.
In terms of, what did she say? Like a peacemaker. Complacent.
Yeah.
But you're a 2, most healers are 2 things.
Yeah, I don't know if that's exactly true.
Yeah. Now, again, multiple types could be called healers. But if we're going to play the stereotype game and we're going to say one type is a healer, what do you think?
A 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go with that as well. And I think, if we were, 2s are called helpers. Mm-hmm. And I think it's useful to kind of think of 2-4 differences and consider 2 and 4s are both heart types. Mm-hmm. But what kind of roles they play archetypally then is also kind of influenced by the other centers that they're next to. So I think that 2s are next to the gut center, so they tend to be more helpers or nurturers and
nurturing,
active type of caretakers. Like, let me see your needs, let me act on your needs, that kind of thing.
Let me know your needs before you know your needs.
Sure, yeah. But if I was really going to say what type most likely earns that kind of healer stereotype, that's really where the 4 then is next to the head type. And there's that deep desire to 4 is very sensitive, feeling pain, but then that 5, the head brings the desire to understand why this pain, what's the story behind this? How is this past affecting me now? And how can I understand it in a way that brings healing to me? And then how can I understand others in a way that I can be a healer, so to speak. And so, again, if I was to pick one type that I would call the healer, although that's playing a stereotype game, that's not always fair, I would go with the 4 over 2.
Okay, yeah, I'd say 2. I'd say 4 as well. I mean, 4s are going to transmute pain.
Yeah.
Versus just temporarily relieve it. Like a helper's let me help you with this. Let me get you some Advil. Let me massage you. Maybe even just a massage could be a helper. Like, your body hurts, I'm helping you. Yeah,
so a massage therapist I could see being a 2 or 4, equally. But they'd probably have different approaches.
And it might not be the healer, tag on it.
Right, yeah.
It's that transmuting, I think. It's where you turn the pain into something else somehow, which is more of that alchemy of the 4.
Totally.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, and now I think also, so that's this Enneagram 9 girl. I think you gave one more clip where she's talking again or featured, right?
In this, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's dive into that one.
What was that about? Scorpio. So secretive. It's not easy for me, Rick. I'm an Aries. I need everything out in the open.
Oh my God, I need weed.
Just tell me what's going on.
It doesn't concern you, okay?
Of course it concerns me. Everything you do concerns me. I'm your life partner, Rick.
Good morning.
Hey!
I wanted to remind you of our session this morning.
I have a migraine.
I really look forward to working with you again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please happen.
Have a good breakfast.
I just want to give you a heads up. Tomorrow, I'm going to Bangkok.
Why? What am I gonna do?
I don't know. Maybe you'll meet a guy richer than me and you can sponge off him.
I'm your soulmate, Rick.
How can you be my soulmate? Our signs aren't even compatible.
Okay, so we started with the Enneagram references. Now we've moved into astrology.
Yeah.
What did you think was kind of interesting or relevant about this clip?
Well, I mean, I do think that it shows her nineness a little bit. It's that desire to learn about spirituality and
Have a
things
perspective.
that aren't commonly studied. You know?
Fair. Yeah.
And then I think it's fun how she brought in astrology to it as well.
Yeah.
And how she's trying to be like, hey, look at this differently.
Okay.
You know, like she's setting him up with massages and healing sessions and talking about his feelings.
Okay.
And she's trying to get him spiritually in touch with himself or something.
Okay. So she's trying to give him some perspective that maybe he doesn't have.
Yeah, which can be a nine thing. I mean, it can be a lot of things, right?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting because you've been watching the show. I haven't.
Yeah.
So you kind of have that perspective on it.
Sure.
I think also in line with that last Enneagram clip that we saw where she's like, oh, I'm a 9, you must be a 2 kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I almost think that she's kind of a lesson in what not to do or what some of the trappings of personality typing in general are.
Which we all get stuck in at some point. We all do because to learn it, you almost have to get stuck and learn it.
Exactly. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and this is kind of a perennial or ongoing debate, like in the Enneagram community, and then also people who are maybe skeptical or have problems with the Enneagram and personality typing and whatnot. And is the value in typing is okay. So you label patterns, right? So you can understand them, but then the degree to which you make that label of those patterns your identity, and that's where I think, right, because the idea is to become more conscious of these things, and it can help to label them to create some perspective, some distance from them. But then the trapping can be to make that, oh, I've recognized these patterns, now that's who I am.
Or that's who this person is.
Or that's who this person is.
Like she said, ooh, Scorpio, so secretive.
Right. And that's where I think fundamentally the personality stuff, the typing, the signs, whatever, if you don't really even know who you are, like what you value or why you have some of these patterns, it can be useful to label them and then even say, okay, well, I'm this type. I see these patterns come up a lot. But then when communicating to other people, you should use these tools to better understand yourself, like better understand your values, better understand your feelings, better understand your motives, your needs, your wants, whatever. But then you should communicate that, I really value open, clear, straightforward communication. Like, could we do that? Not, well, I'm an Aries, so you really need to talk straightforward with me.
Yeah.
Or, well, you're this sign, so that. I think that's the trapping, and that's taking on these labels and as an identity rather than using these labels to understand patterns and then using that understanding to communicate the actual human things that people can respond to.
It's useful when you're starting to learn, right?
Yes.
To identify that you're Aries and you like openness. Like that's
like what are my
helpful
core
at
values?
to
And
some
sometimes
part.
thinking
Yeah.
deep about the psyche and these patterns and these labels can get you thinking deep about maybe things. What are my needs? I don't even know.
Right.
Oh, okay. I kind of resonate with
And
this
then you
pattern.
can see it in someone else, and it
Yes.
helps you kind of stand in their shoes a little bit.
But then
you
when you're
know?
talking with someone else, the
Yeah.
language really needs to go back to
Yeah.
needs, values.
And not you're this sign or you're this type.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I did think it was clever, though. I thought it was funny how she's like, but you're my soulmate. And he's like, our signs don't even match.
Right, exactly.
Which is hilarious because it means he was actually listening to her. Because if you do some of the research, I mean, the common research about signs, like,
Okay.
I mean, they're not really
Yeah.
like they can be compatible. Of course, anything can be compatible, but
Yeah.
it's funny. That made me chuckle because he was actually listening.
but to the point we were actually just making, that's kind of the thing. When you just take these personality things and you objectify them and you make them an identity, then instead of like looking for what's the actual relationship dynamic for compatibility, you're just going on, a mathematical equation that tries to
Yeah.
predict it.
Or all of the research you've read on all these different other people who
Yeah.
are these types and studying that.
And it actually
Yeah.
takes you farther away from your authentic self rather than closer to it.
Yeah, so it's just a gateway into the communication about it, but it doesn't, I don't know,
So I
doesn't
like it.
solve
There-
all the problems.
Yeah, there's multiple levels going on here. It's cool to see the reference to these things, and whether inadvertent or not, it's also kind of teaching the trappings of these tools. Like it's cool to see the tools mentioned, but it's also kind of, I think she's almost modeling some of the trappings of the tools that people get stuck
Yeah,
in.
I mean, I've been trapped in there
sure.
personally, so I mean,
Yeah,
I get
it's
it.
hard
Yeah.
to get in the tool.
Yep.
Everyone gets trapped in it. It's just good to be aware of it. So you can use it.
Yeah. I thought it was funny too. She's like, but you're my soulmate.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's a total thing that everyone's talking about these days, of course. And then I would think a 9 would be really into the soulmate relationship. I'm sure other people are too, but
Yeah, definitely.
if you're talking real spiritually,
That desire for union,
yes,
that desire for merging, that desire for a type of
intimate knowing and
yeah.
all of that. And I could see why a 9 she'd know Enneagram and she would know astrology. It makes sense to me.
tools to try
Yeah.
to help with that union and merging.
High
type of-
spiritual love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Good cliffs.